Miniawan is a word that says wellness. Miniawan was opened back in 2010, which is only 14 years ago. It became a provincial hospital. Before that, we had two hospitals in Sulicote in a town of 6,000 people. We had the Federal Hospital, which is for First Nations people like me, people that look like me. And then we had another hospital, a provincial hospital. I don't know how to say this. It's for other people. It's for white people, I'll say. So we had two hospitals. And it was in only 1997 when they amalgamated those two hospitals. Even though there were two sites, they amalgamated them. And they integrated all the programming and everything like that, but it wasn't until 2010 when they finally opened a brand new hospital, which is now a provincial hospital. The federal government got out of the business of healthcare, and they do not have any resources that they put toward the provincial hospital. So that's what Sulicote Miniawan Health Center is now. It's a 54-bed facility. Returning to Article 18.1 of the bill, I just want to say again how important it is that the cultural, linguistic, religious, and spiritual needs and rights of residents are respected and fulfilled. For First Nations patients, this is essential. And just respecting the needs, it's not enough. Care providers must go further to ensure that patients can practice their ways of life. There are already health care spaces that are making great efforts to do this. I want to recognize the Sulicote Miniawan Health Center for setting up an example for the rest of Ontario with their traditional programs for elders. And I want to give a shout out to some of the team doing this work. Kathy Loon Ojibwe, the Vice President of Traditional Programs and Equity, Diversity and Inclusion. She's from Slate Falls. The elders and residents, Elder Betsy Beardy, who is, again, Anshininu, OG Cree. Elder Ralph Johnson, Ojibwe. Elder Priscilla Kakakespan, who is a Cree. But also the interpreters, Tom Chapman, who speaks our language, and Shinimwan, Josephine Turtle, Jesse Ashamagijika, Ojibwe, Sophie Crane, Ojibwe, Violet Mashimidi. The role that this team plays is so crucial for so many. The area served by Miniawan has approximately 30,000 people, and there's no option for people from the Northern First Nations to access long-term care or home care within the community. We only have 20 long-term care beds currently. Because there is also no room in long-term care in Sulicote, the hospital is being used as a last resort. Over half of the hospital is people waiting to get into long-term care. Families are put into a position to send their family members out of their home communities, out of their home First Nations, away from their families, but aren't able to go themselves due to the cost of traveling from the Northern First Nations. In the absence of family and far away from home, this team becomes the cultural bridge. the Anishinaabe in the room. Often they're the only ones, the only people there at the end of stage life, to hold hands, cry, listen, and pray together. We have elders that die alone in these places. How cruel. In a long-term, in a hospital, in a long-term care facility, the healthcare workers can provide the important physical care needed, but often the emotional, mental, and spiritual care goes unmet. These are all connected. The key aspect, Speaker, is of culturally appropriate care at Minneawan Health Center in Sulicote is regular daily visits to the patient from someone that speaks their language, especially older patients and patients with dementia. In Sulicote Minneawan Health Center, the interpreters and elders assist patients with their spiritual needs and care, focusing on patients who are palliative or near palliative. Although they also work with other patients, situationally, whether it's in a maternity ward, trauma patients, or to young people needing support when their kukum, their grandparent, passes away. The program works closely with the pastoral care program, often providing assistance to each other. The interpreters regularly sing songs from, the Cree hymn book and other spiritual songs. The traditional programs, the team has culturally appropriate clothes available for women who need to wear specific dress code. The team provides sacred objects and plants that somebody might need. The palliative room is close to the healing room. It's so easy for palliative patients who practice their ways of life to participate in ceremonies like smudging. It is, Speaker, it is also important to have traditional foods available to feed people in their spirit and their body. At the time of passing, the team often practices Anishinaabe rituals if the family is not there or if they need support. After a passing, families can use the healing room to perform cedar baths to their loved one. Another aspect of what this team does is share knowledge and language to non-Anishinaabe staff so they can say a few words or greet patients in one of the Anishinaabe languages to promote trust. The work of the traditional programming team in the Sulicote Minneawan Health Center is an important example of what a thoughtful and a comprehensive approach to culturally appropriate care looks like. However, Speaker, the cruel reality is that to access this care, First Nations elders have to travel far from home and far away from their families because they cannot access long-term care or home care in their home community. I have asked this before and I ask again, why aren't we entitled to age comfortably in our homes and in our communities and to receive equitable health care regardless of where you live? The way forward for having long-term care system that respects the rights and the ways of life of First Nations people is to co-develop a distinction-based, community-led, Indigenous long-term and continuing care framework, with the priority of ensuring that First Nations peoples are able to receive long-term and continuing care services in or near their own communities. And just as important, culturally appropriate care and programming.